good, Audiotree lovers? It's me, Psalm 1, global hip-hop treasure and Michelin-starred yapper, back with another session, and today is Saturday, February 15th, 2025. For those subscribed to the channel, we love y'all, but if you're new to the channel, we need you. So go on and press that little button, and then follow Audiotree on platforms like Spotify so we can keep this train moving, all right? And today, we got a band that's been in high demand in our comments. We listened, we learned, and we got Boundaries in studio today, straight out of Connecticut with some savage metalcore. Since their debut in 2017, they pushed the boundaries of the genre, earning acclaim for their ferocious sound and intense personal lyrics. So hold on tight, ladies, ladies, and gentlemen, and please welcome Boundaries. We did it, y'all. Y'all are here. You finally made it. Is it surreal for any of y'all? Because I know it's surreal for some of us, and definitely our fans watching.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yes.
Yes.
I've watched Audiotree like the whole time since I was like 18. The Balance and Composure Audiotree, the La Dispute Audiotree, the Counterparts Audiotree. They are very important for us. Like, this is a big day. We're happy to be here.
We are so happy to have y'all. Everyone's giddy with joy. Y'all just started a tour like yesterday, correct?
Yeah.
The beginning of tour is very different from the end. What are you hoping to accomplish this time around?
The biggest and best shows yet.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday was like such a strong start. And you know, the first show is always like a good way to set the bar.
Sure.
And you know, it's a market like Detroit, which we've never played a bad show in Detroit. But, you know, like, we're from the Northeast. You know, we're used to what we're used to in the Northeast. So it's like, the way we see it is like, that's a good bar setter. Let's see if we can make our way up from here.
I'm sure Chicago will...
Chicago
always
rules. Awesome. Like, always awesome.
Yeah, we love y'all here. So the type of heavy music that Boundaries creates has so much range. It's landed you on versatile tours with acts like The Plotting You to Lorna Shore. What do you think it is about the music you create that makes it reachable to such a wide audience?
It's authentic, I think, is it, really. That there's no gimmicks, like everything we do it because we love it. Like, we steal from every genre, from every band that we like, and I think it's applicable to every tour for that reason. because we've toured for the most part, I would say, with bands like every band we like. You know, every tour we've done the past few years has been like a milestone and a name crossed off the list.
That's cool, you can hear it. The fans definitely know it just keeps upping it and upping it and upping it. So, yeah, that authenticity definitely is shining through. Nathan, you were playing a bit of Green Day's Longview, just doing warm-ups. Any other covers y'all like to crush just for fun?
We do A Victim of Target sound check a lot.
Mr. Highway's thinking about the end.
Yeah.
We did Sunday Bacon by Amira yesterday.
We've covered Whitechapel.
Holiday.
We've covered so much.
We were covering the Parkway song.
Yeah, Romance is Dead. We did it in Australia.
We
was
did
crazy.
Yeah, they were stoked.
Danger and
How
Starting
did
Fire.
that go over? Yeah, that's dope. You guys have a pretty steady path of releasing music on a very consistent basis, putting out Your Receding Warmth in 2020, Bearing Brightness in 2022, and then your newest fantastic record, Death is a Little More, last year. How are you able to stay so consistent with creating and releasing this music?
Anxiety. Being afraid people will forget we exist if we stop for a single second. Time traveling through COVID was horrible because I was 25 and then I was 30 somehow. It was 2 years, but
Somehow.
yeah, like you blink and it's like, hey man, now or never.
Yeah.
And we're also just always writing. We're kind of never stopping, which I think works to our advantage a lot of the time. Because it lets us put out records super consistently, and we always have demos, we always have something to pull from. But then the other side of that is, now that we've established, hey, you get a record every 16 months, the first time we don't do that, I don't think people will be very happy with us. But we'll figure it out.
Anxiety definitely helps the art quite a bit.
It
you
does.
know? Let's get back into the music.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey everybody, I consider myself an extremely smart person, but there's something that confuses me a lot over here at Audiotree. 88% of our viewership is not subscribed to the channel, and that's like crazy to me. So I need a favor from you. If you watch the videos and you love the videos and you're not subscribed, please, it's a free and simple way to support the channel. Just hit that subscribe button. And when you do that, we promise you that we will continue to build this channel out, bring you the best bands, listen to your feedback, honestly bring the bands that you want to see more here at Audiotree. So make sure you sub up and we can continue to make this the best music channel on YouTube. Holy shit. We just heard a Pale Light Lingers, a sweet little ditty by none other than Boundaries. The collaborations on A Death Is a Little More are insane, and a lot of fans wax poetic about the unexpected Marcus Vick feature. Also got to shout out Laki Keo from my guys Alpha Wolf being on there. What was it about those people that made them feel the most attractive to tap for this record?
Mainly for Marcus, we were just like, we've been really good friends with Invent for a while now, and we just had like a spot we felt like he'd fit on. Kind of just worked out perfectly.
Easy peasy, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That spot was crazy because the song was like a 7 out of 10 before, and we didn't have anything written for that whole section, and we were just like, yeah, we got like this clean part in the song. You want to do something? You just like wrote it, sent it back, and we were like, holy shit,
that
it's
was
like one of
all
my favorites
him.
on the record now.
Yeah,
That
the
was
song
all
was
him.
mid, and Marcus made it awesome.
No guidance, no lyrics, no pointers. He was like, I know exactly what to do. That was all him.
Oh,
that part.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
he
gotta love the
smoked.
professionalism, you know?
Yeah, very cool.
Same with Matt Honeycutt. He just went for it.
Yeah,
Just
he
completely
wrote
went
the
for
name
it.
of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name of the song was a lyric
Yeah.
he wrote, actually. It's pretty funny.
I love when it comes together like that, you know? What's a dream collaboration you have yet to score?
I did remember. Green Day.
Word.
I was gonna say Dylan from Full of Hell.
Oh, okay.
That's the top of my pyramid.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck about anyone else.
I still
Told.
want Frankie from Amir.
Oh yeah, and Shane told.
The album title "Death Is a Little More" comes from Dante's Inferno, which explores suffering, the weight of existence, and all that. What drew you to that specific line, and how did it shape the themes of the record?
Really, just the premise that life can become so difficult and so trying that dying almost seems easier. It almost seems like it would just be another bullet point on the list of things to do. And that was just a concept that I really identified with when, long lifetime spent of being anxious, depressed, overwhelmed, kind of looking for a way out. And that reading that line especially from 700 years ago.
Right.
There's a very connecting and identifying moment that I first had when I read it, which is really just that, people have always been going through this, which is like the hardest part in the beginning, is feeling like you're the only one that gets you. You're the only one that is going through what you're going through. But that hasn't been the truth since the written word. Like, people have always been going through it. It's just a matter of finding it. And it's just something I really identified with.
Do you think the fans, I'm sure you get a lot of feedback at shows and stuff. You get a lot of that? Like,
I do, yeah.
You said what I wanted to say.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only, like, I can't play an instrument. I'm not a musician. Like, I couldn't do any of this. I'm just someone that wrote down how he feels and found other people that feel that way. So that's the greatest benefit, is that I got to turn my outlet into something that also became other people's outlet.
Yeah, that is magic. And you said that this album is about life at its most difficult. And how do you balance expressing those feelings through your lyrics while keeping the music empowering rather than just bleak?
Well, I wrote a lot of bleak. Early records for sure was a lot of bleak.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't had that moment yet. I hadn't bottomed out. I hadn't started to climb back up yet. I was still falling, so to speak. So now it's a little easier for me. And unfortunately, life is super simple when it's terrible. Like, there's not a lot of wiggle room. You're going to wake up and things are going to be bad. There's no surprises anymore. It gets harder when that isn't the case, when you do have things to look forward to, when you do start having goals and plans. That's when life actually gets hard, and you're setting yourself up for disappointment, and you have expectations again. So that's a lot of what's in this record, is sort of the ascent back up to, like, all right, I'm still here, so now what?
Yeah. And that rock bottom spot where it's just like, well, I can't really go any lower.
No, if I'm going to stay alive, this is it. This is me at my least. So where do I go from here?
Real. You said Death is a little more, you wrote it in a more collaborative way than in previous albums, working together in the studio rather than bringing in the fully formed ideas. How do you think that impacted the sound and the creative process?
I think everyone likes the record the most that we've liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was most teamwork.
Yeah. Previous records, people would be like, that's my favorite song, and all four of us would go like, that song sucks. That's my favorite. And everyone would go, that actually sucks. This one's my favorite. This one is much more like, isn't this great? And everyone's like, yeah, I feel really good about that song. Like, everyone has like their baby on this one that they feel super proud of. That didn't really exist in previous records. Also, like, half these members weren't in the band in previous records.
Yeah.
So this was, Bearing Brightness was our trial run writing together. This was the conditioned practice. We've done it once before. Let's do it better this time.
Nice. This album blends heavy, aggressive sounds with more melodic and emotional moments. And how do you approach finding that balance in the songwriting?
I hate melodic metalcore. I think that shit sucks. I think it's boring.
Tell him.
I think it has no nuts to it at all. It is strictly because Cory and Cody live and die by bands like Counterparts, To the Wind, Misery Signals, that all that stuff works its way in there. And I had to adapt because I just want to write breakdowns the whole time. But that's not music.
I'm a singer first and a drummer second. So, like, obviously I wanted to throw some singing on the record. The guys wanted to throw some singing on the record. So it was just about making it tasteful. Because you find, like, a lot of heavy bands, like, will just, like, sprinkle clean vocals in there just to do it. Whereas, like, we were like, how do we approach this in, like, a tasteful manner where it's not, like, overbearing and unauthentic to people who are already, like, we've already got our hooks in, you know?
Got it.
And, like, outside of heavy, we all collectively, like, love Seosin and the Used. So, like, that's more of, like, the melodic parts, really.
Sure.
Just, like, post-hardcore and stuff.
Yep.
Hardcore, metalcore, such a vast term these days when describing a band. I feel like this can range from bands like Killswitch Engage to Converge, and I myself don't even know how I would accurately describe the genre other than combining metal with hardcore. But for a band like Boundaries, how do you internalize that term, metalcore, and how do you think it reflects the music you create?
Every single version of it is what we are. The whole umbrella, like the whole umbrella's over our head. That's how I see it. Like Converge, Kill Switch, Prada, like even newer stuff like North Lane, Counterparts. So it's all of it's in there, all of it. Knock Loose, all of it. Like every single version of metalcore is what we are. Like we're not dialed in or honed in on any one facet of it. I love every version of metalcore.
I think we have the advantage of not really caring to really apply to any one version of it. I think that's kind of silly and kind of limiting. I've known bands that have written stuff and been like, oh, that's too that. It's like, but you wrote it, so it's you. It's you. You made it. I don't think we're ever going to concern ourselves with writing something that sounds boundaries enough. It's always just going to be what we like. It's going to be, he being Nathan's going to be like, hey, there's this part of a Dillinger record I really like. I think we should do something like this. And then Cory's going to come in and be like, so I was listening to Jagged Little Pill, and the intro on this one song, I think we could totally do something like this. And I'm going to listen to Antichrist Siege Machine and be like, we will never sound like this, but I really like this band.
Freedom and not worrying will really set you free for real as a band. So how do you see the future of the genre evolving as a whole, but more importantly, to your band and the future of Boundaries?
I'm gonna say something crazy, maybe.
Say it.
I don't give a fuck about the future of metalcore. I don't give a fuck what any other band is doing. They can have their 8 strings and go no and play nothing. I don't give a fuck. Me and my idiot friends are gonna play breakdowns like beasts.
That is the best answer I could have hoped for. Let's get back into the music, guys.
Take us away, a fantasy. say I wish I never met you. Because then I could sleep at night. I didn't have to walk around with the knowledge that there was someone like you out there.
Christ at the Club, that was incredible. A massive thank you to Boundaries for joining us today. And as always, major love to our camera ops, engineers, dogs, editors, and artists here at Audiotree, spreading the gospel of live music. These lovely gents are on the road right now and have a thick touring schedule lined up, so please grab tickets when you see them playing in your area. Also, do yourself a solid and get into all their music, but especially their latest album, Death is a Little More, because it's freakishly essential listening, so just do it. And like I always say, babes, likes are good, but subscribing to Audiotree means you get these dope videos at the top of your feed as soon as they drop. Get cool merch like this shirt at audiotree.shop, and if you want just the session audio, you can find it on streaming things like Apple Music. Finally, follow Audiotree on social media for more fun content. This is Psalm 1 signing off, and like I always say, stay dangerous and drive safe, please. All right, see you next time. Peace.
All right, so you guys want to do it for real now?